Again, we are back to explain the second commandment highlighted by cross. We have talked about the first commandment previously, which was talking about love God thy God. Now the second commandment. Let's see the book of Matthew, the same Matthew chapter 22. Let's read from verse 39. Look at what the Bible said. It said, and the second is like unto it, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets. While the Pharisees were gathered together, Jesus asked them, saying, what think ye of Christ? Whose son is he? They said unto him, the son of David. Now, what is he trying to say, Lord? What is he trying to explain? He said the first commandment, the second commandment is like the first commandment. It's equivalent. The first commandment, love God thy God. The second commandment, love thy neighbor as thyself. Now, if you love your neighbor as yourself, you will never plan evil against him. That is why that commandment is very strong. If you love your neighbor, you will not covet against him. You will not covet his properties. You will not be greedy against him. You will never think evil against him. That is why Christ is emphasizing on that issue, on that matter. He said, love thy neighbor as thyself. It is not necessarily that you love your neighbor as you love yourself, but you will place some degree of love. There will be some certain degrees of love to your neighbor. So based on that fact, based on that injunction, you will never have evil, you never plan evil against him or her. So the greatest love, one, love God and keep his commandment. Second, love thy neighbor as thyself, so that you will never plan evil. You cherish him. You give him materials, resources. You will help him if you love him. You give him assisting hands if you love him. But if you don't love him, you plan evil. You can never have anything good in common with him. You can never do anything good to him. So that is why he said, look at in verse 40. In verse 40, he said, on these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets. He said, all the law are hanging on these two commandments. As I've earlier explained, if you love God, you must keep all his commandments. If you love your neighbor, you will never plan evil. Love covers the multitude of sin. Love covers the multitude of sin. So if you love, you will never detect error. So that is why all the other law are hanging on these two commandments. That is what Christ is talking about. So based on this fact, if any man have ear to hear, let him hear what the Spirit is speaking to the churches. Amen.